We're back here on our program with the platform, and in this segment of our program, we are going to be talking about something that is happening this Christmas season by Bahamas Food Feeding Network. They've been doing a wonderful job in our community over the many years, and recently we saw that they intend to feed 5,000 needy people this Christmas season. And I'm pleased to have on the program today one of the principals of the Bahamas Feeding Network, Mr. Phil Smith, who has been here before. And it's good to have him here today. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. And like I said, you're looking younger than you looked the last time.
Well, thank you. You know, you've been doing such a wonderful job with your feeding program.
Thank you.
And I said it seems to be an organization that is moving from strength to strength. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the Bahamas Feeding Network.
Okay, so we started in December 2013, and we are truly a network. We have over 100 members consisting of soup kitchens, churches, and feeding organizations located in Nassau, Grand Bahama, and the other family islands. So we have an amazing distribution network or channel in that we distribute through those 100 different organizations. And we have a board, a very strong board. Frank Crothers happens to be our founder. He is on the board. We have a patron in the name of Mrs. Minnis, the Prime Minister's wife, and we have a very strong board. And so on a weekly basis, we cook and distribute 5,500 meals, 5,500 meals from our feeding center in Fox Hill. But recently, since the hurricane, that figure has gone up to 11,500. So we have been cooking 6,000 meals for the persons in the various centers. So we do 1,200 meals a day for that. So, you know, I think our strength is really our volunteers, you know, and the other persons involved. What I say is that if you could put the right people together, you could do almost anything, you know, and so we have this amazing group of volunteers that, you know, if you come, and I'd love to invite you all to the center. You come on a Sunday, so Sunday we cook 4,000 meals, and they prep on a Saturday, so they begin prepping at about 4 a.m. Saturday morning, and that prepping goes from 4 a.m. to about 3 p.m. And then, so they're cleaning over 40 cases of chicken, cleaning and prepping over 40 cases of chicken in order for the meal the next day. And then they come back at 10 p.m. and they cook. They're cooking from 10 p.m. until about 3, 4 o'clock the next day. Now, with all of the persons moving from, you know, a number of persons have come from Grand Bahama, staying in with friends and relatives. So they're now coming themselves, and not only are we feeding the persons in the shelter, but persons are coming there. So on a Sunday, when we would normally finish at about 4, we're having to go back to the stove because we have people showing up later, and so we tend to go until about 6 o'clock on a Sunday evening. So these volunteers are there from, say, 9, 10 o'clock Saturday night, straight through until 6 the next morning on their feet. Just amazing. I love them. They make me cry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because so we took them on a cruise. Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines donated a cruise to 64 of our volunteers last week. So we had an amazing time on the new on the Oasis of the Seas. It was very nice.
Where did you go?
So they bought round-trip tickets for everyone, all 64, to go to Fort Lauderdale. We got on the boat. We cruised to Nassau and cruised back to Fort Lauderdale, got back, and came back. So some of the volunteers, you know, they went shopping. So when they got So before we got on the ship, they went shopping and they were able to take the stuff off when it landed in Nassau, and then we went back to Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, very, very good.
That's really remarkable, and that's a really nice gesture from the cruise line to do that for them,
Yes.
for the volunteers. How many volunteers do you really get to be able to do all
Consistently,
this?
we have over 40 volunteers that come between 4 and 6 days a week. And then, of course, we have groups, so a really nice outreach for companies to bring their staff, and we will. So when we have you've probably seen a tape where we've had over 100 volunteers. So when we have that many, what we do, we set up a big tent, a covered tent with sides, and we do the parking under those tents. So recently we had over 110 volunteers, and we put them all online. Everybody was there parking either the chicken in the plates or the rice or the salad, and everyone had something to do, and then we take the tray. So we put 18 plates in a tray, and then we take those to the vehicles as they show up, the various churches and soup kitchens that come to collect.
Phil Smith, how is this funded? Because you're talking about a whole lot of meals.
Yeah.
1,200 a day.
Yeah. So basically, like I said, we have a very strong board, and that board is very, they have a lot of contacts. So we use the board and to reach out to their persons that they know, and then members of the board themselves. Some of them are not doing badly at all, and so they assist. And then we have a calling center. So there are 4 ladies that are consistently on the phone. It's a calling center. So Alive donated phones to us. They donated probably 8, 10 phones. And so we have a calling center where they're constantly on the phone calling. And, so connecting, what I say all the time is if you could genuinely connect with people, and so your friends, if people who are truly your friends know that you're into something, they're going to assist. Mm-hmm. And so what I find, friends like yourself, knowing you way back, I call them up and, hopefully, I believe sometimes when they see my number show up, they probably...
Tell us about the 5,000 that you intend to feed this Christmas season.
Yeah, so this is actually an initiative of AML Foods. It is their initiative that they invited us to be a part of. And this is the 4th year. So they came up with the name and everything. And it's just a really good name if you think about it. Feed the 5,000 is spiritual. Mm-hmm. And so what we will attempt to do, last year we raised $134,000. So we solicit Corporate Bahamas over the phones and so on. So last year, Corporate Bahamas gave $74,000. The stores, all of the stores in Grand Bahama and Nassau, so that's Solomon's, Fresh Market, and Course-Right, they raised just around $40,000. And so last year, AML stores donated $20,000. They've increased that this year to $30,000 because it is their 30th year anniversary. So we will attempt to raise $200,000. Our goal is $150,000, but I'm going to push it to $200,000 so that we can have 5,000 of those $40 parcels. The parcels consist of a chicken, a picnic ham, 4 canned goods, vegetables, and corn, a 5-pound bag of rice, and a bag of stuffing. Each of those parcels is $40.
Yeah, it's only $40,
So
and that's a lot of food.
$40 can feed a family of 4 for about a few days. Mm-hmm. So we want to raise sufficient money to purchase 5,000 of those, and then we will distribute them. This year, we're including Grand Bahama and Abaco, so we're going to distribute in both of those places to persons affected by the hurricane. So we raised $134,000. We want to up it a bit this year so that we could include the persons affected by the hurricane.
Yeah, I find it really convenient to just be going to the grocery store and then they'll ask if you want to make that donation to help with this at the fresh food market or wherever. And also you can make donations online. Yes,
absolutely. And so another thing we were able to do this year, Royal Caribbean donated 6 cruises for cashiers. The cashiers raising the most donations. We get a cruise for two. So
that's
hopefully
good.
that will incentivize them, and they could even raise more money than we did last year.
And so how do you find the 5,000 people to distribute the goods?
Well, we distribute, like I said, through our membership of 100 feeding churches and soup kitchens, and so they're located in all the farms.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the 20th of this month at Solomon's on Yamacraw Road, the distribution will take place at 11 a.m. We will distribute whatever. So last year what we did, we distributed the actual food items in parcels of food. This year what we are going to do is distribute vouchers, these $40 vouchers to these churches and so on, and then they will go to the stores and collect the grocery items and distribute them.
So you'd have a particular church taking care of 100 people.
Absolutely.
And they would come and get 100 vouchers.
Absolutely.
For their list of people.
Absolutely. That is how it would work.
Okay.
And then we will go to Grand Bahama on the day after, and we will do the same thing there, and Apico, the same thing.
What if you find that there are more than 5,000 people in need, given what took place during the storm?
Well, and I'm so happy you have us to come and, share what we are doing. So hopefully we'll raise more than 200,000, and we could have more to donate,
Yes.
So thank you so much for having us, and hopefully the word would really get out there. And, it's $40. I think a lot of people could afford that if just $40, go into the stores and make a donation of $40, and that's going to go a long way to help persons who are really in need, And there are a lot of those persons now. The Department of Statistics said that there were about 43,000 persons that were affected by hunger. That was 12.8% of the population. But now with the hurricane, that probably goes up to 60,000 or more,
So what happens after Christmas?
After Christmas, we continue to cook the 5,500 meals that we cook weekly. I don't know how much longer we will have to cook for the persons in the shelters, because I understand they will come to an end soon. And then we give out vouchers, and we give out parcels on a weekly basis. So a number of the wholesalers donate to us some pallets and pallets of food that we pack and distribute throughout the week. So 4 to 5 days a week, we are distributing parcels of food that we would have collected from wholesalers. 2 days a week, we are cooking 4,000 meals on a Sunday, 2,000 on a Thursday. And so that is what we do. And then a few times a year, we also call our membership together and give them these vouchers as well. So we will once or twice a year. So over the last few years, we have given out $500,000 in vouchers outside of this Feed the 5,000 initiative. So once or twice a year, we will call the members together and give them vouchers in order for them to go and shop and distribute.
And if people want to volunteer, then they just show up at a place, or do they call?
Yeah, they can call. It would be nice if they call. So we have companies, like your company can come and bring the staff and volunteer. So I will give a number. We are located on Fox Hill Road. The feeding center is located on Fox Hill Road, right next to the police station. So if you're coming from the Eastern Road, it's right down the hill from St. Anne's School. We're immediately south of the police station on the same side of the street. The phone numbers are at the center. It's 324-8353. At the office, it's 676-2636. Our web page is www.bahamasfeedingnetwork.org.
And you can also be found on Facebook.
Yes, absolutely.
I've seen lots of wonderful videos on Facebook, and I see that you do morning devotions.
Yes.
On the Sundays, you always start with the morning devotion.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes,
yeah.
it's really
So
nice.
I think
So the feeding network, you are supplying a number of charitable organizations, are you?
absolutely. So a lot of the charities, practically all of them that you know of are members of our organization that we assist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a church then needing to feed people in the community,
Yes.
they will contact you.
Yes, and we'll put them on our list. Okay, so if there are any churches presently that's not on that list, they can call us and we can, we do a little inspection and see what you're doing, and then more than likely you'll be added to the list. Yeah.
This takes a lot of administrative work, eh?
Yeah, it does.
So you have you must have an office staff and to be able to coordinate all of the food that you get from the various agencies.
We have an amazing team. Like I said earlier, the team is key. For example, there's a lady by the name of Rosina Ferguson. She manages the feeding center. And she doesn't sleep very much. She sleeps probably 3 hours a night. I don't know how she does it, but her life is this work. So it's just this amazing commitment by so many persons involved that makes it as successful as it is.
The hurricane has had a tremendous impact on the organization, hasn't it?
Yes. So we have been in Grand Bahama. I've spent at least 15 days in Grand Bahama, and we worked along with our partners, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and they were cooking 20,000 meals a day. I'd call up...
In Grand Bahama?
In Grand Bahama, yeah. So initially, it's amazing. I called up Royal Caribbean, our partners, and said, listen, let's do something for the hurricane. And he said, okay, we'll get back to you. And the next day, they got back and said, okay, we're going to cook 20,000 meals a day. And I was like, I've got to be kidding. And so, sure enough, they were cooking 20,000 meals on the ship and bringing it to shore. And then after about a week, they said, okay, we're going to set up a kitchen so that we can cook 20,000 meals on ground. And sure enough, they set up this field kitchen, 20,000 meals. I mean, they speak it and it's done. It's just the most amazing partners you can have. So they are very, very much involved in what we do. They're coming, at least 5 of their groups will come and set up new menus for us now. We are setting up regional centers now throughout Nassau and Grand Bahama, where we will have an organization in a particular area to be responsible for their entire community. So rather than all of these churches and feeding organizations having to come to Foxhill, they could now go to that regional center in that area and be taken care of. And we'll do the same thing in Grand Bahama. So Royal Caribbean is sending a team who will help us to put that all together, So just an amazing group of, I love them. They're amazing.
It's very good.
Yeah,
very good.
they get it done. You see?
Yeah. That's really nice to know about them.
Yeah, they say the word and it's done. And Diane Phillips, I must mention her. She is the one who put us in touch. She is amazing. So she does all of our marketing and practically free of charge, and she is just also an amazing, her company, Alex from her company and her and everybody else on her team. Amazing.
So after Christmas, you continue your feeding program.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be 5,000, it would be 1,200 a day.
1,200 a day,
yes,
plus the 5,500 that we normally feed.
Wow.
So we're looking at about 11,000 a week.
A week?
Yes.
I was able to go one day with my children. It was a really wonderful experience. And it was so well organized. We went in there and everybody was working so hard and so fast, and and just makes you feel really good to be able to do that. And it was fast actually, with all of the people helping,
yes,
to get it done.
Yeah, it's very organized.
Very organized.
I think, let me say this, man. In the Bahamas, I think we look to the governments too much, But I think, there's a lot of talent outside of government. And so I think if we could bring the right people together, the right teams, there's so much we could do, you know? And I think we could do more of that. And it's amazing how so many people are prepared to give their time, you know, that are just very willing to volunteer. And I mean talented people, committed people, you know. There are people in the Bahamas, you know, who you don't want any part of, you know, because they just never could get anything done. But then there are the vast majority of us, I think, are people who are committed and can get things done. And you want to associate with those people and bring them on your team. And we've been fortunate to have.
Well, you know, we'd like to congratulate you once again for the fine job you're doing with the Bahamas Feeding Network and the volunteers who have been with you all of these years.
Yes.
How many years you've been at it?
The Bahamas Feeding Network, when we became a network, has been since 2013. I've been feeding for about 13 years.
13 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is excellent.
Yeah.
Well, there are a whole lot of people who are grateful for the services that you render
Thank you,
in
man.
our country. And after Dorian, you and others, you have given yeoman service to this country.
Thank you so much. And I believe, you know, what keeps me going is the belief that as you give, there's a scripture where it says, inasmuch as you give unto one of the least of these, you've done unto me. And I believe that with all my heart, that it's literal. And that is what has kept me for 13 years, just giving in this way. You know that you're giving to God, provided you're doing it unconditionally. And as you do that, I believe that He will bless you in your health, your peace, your joy. And that's what keeps me going.
Very good. Well, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
We
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. I
Thank
truly
you.
appreciate
Bianca,
it.
thank you. And we wish you all the best in feeding the 5,000
Thank you.
this Christmas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching and listening to our program. Good evening, everyone.